My name is Max, and I'm the farmer here at New Max Farm on Mud Island in Chelmsford, Mass. I lease this land from the town of Chelmsford. It's part of the Sunny Meadow complex of 15 acres. I have 2 of it I rent. Maybe it's 3, I don't remember. Anyway, I retired a couple years ago, and I've been pretty much passionate about my work, and I needed something really to distract me from being too crazy. So I took up farming. I've been growing chilies now for about 10 years, and I looked for a customer that would buy something I would grow, and I found Brian Ruhlman from Crack Sauce. And he agreed to buy any chilies I can grow him. So last year I grew him about 800 pounds of hot chilies. And I scaled up, and he wants 3,000 pounds from me this year. And I hope to be able to do that. I learned a lot about growing chilies last year. So I'm out here at Planting Fest, and we're putting in about 1,000 chili starts and about 200 tomatoes and some other miscellaneous produce unrelated to the Crack Sauce business. I've got about 15 varieties, and almost all of them are hot. Some are hot and some are screaming hot. The hottest one I grow is Carolina Reaper. They are 1,000,002 Scoville units, which is the measure of heat. The mildest pepper I grow is the Hungarian Hot Wax. They're below 1,000. Jalapenos are 5,000 to 6,000 Scoville units. Then I grow cayennes, habaneros. They are the prettiest chili you've ever seen. They look like they're carved out of wax. So there's a wide variety of hot chilies. Brian is looking for about 11 or 12 of the varieties. I've got another 4 varieties that I'm passionate about. They're what people call hatch chilies. They're New Mexico chilies, Big Jims, and the like. You can't call them hatch chilies unless they're grown in Hatch, New Mexico. But I love them. Green chili stew, all those kind of things. They're just delicious. You dry them and make chili powder. So that's my passion, is growing chilies. I also grow garlic and other alliums. Last year I thought was fairly successful. Didn't make any money. Not sure there's any money in this business, but that's okay. I can brag about my chilies being in Crack Sauce, which is really the finest hot sauce you can buy, because Brian's an artiste. It's not certified organic. I use minimal inorganic means and methods to keep it as close to organic as possible. But there are a few things that you have to be careful of, and I use organic when I can. But the nice thing about hot chilies is deer don't like them, rabbits don't like them. Nice thing about garlic, deer don't like them, rabbits don't like them. My blueberry patch, my strawberry patch, I protect from the deer and the rabbits. And then I throw a hell of a party in September. It's called Chili Fest. And last year we had a live band, and I made 3 kinds of chilies, made street tacos. We had a grand time right here on Mud Island. And I spent every bit of my income, all of my potential profit on it. I lost a lot of money last year, which is okay, because I put in an infrastructure here. We installed a 1,450-foot system of underdrain to drain off the water, because this has 18 inches of Sudbury muck, and it's underlain by 24 inches of peat. And the peat is impermeable, so the water comes through the muck and works its way to the perimeter ditches. Well, it takes forever, and it's why everybody failed here. So I put the underdrain system in, and that carries the water off faster. That allowed me to walk on this every day last year, except maybe the day after a heavy rain. I really have come in tune with the land, what its challenges are, and I was successful last year. This year is going to be just as successful. I have beat Mud Island. First one. No-till out west, where I come from, you mulch everything and you drill your seeds right through the plant cover from last year, and or you wait until spring and very lightly cultivate it and then plant. I do the next best thing by only tilling every 2 years the planting rows. And I've got about 5,000 feet of row here, about a mile of row. And so this will not see a tiller or a plow until next year, when I may do over the 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And they will be minimal till. There's a machine that the Parleys have here in town. It hills up the dirt and lays down a roll of fabric and tucks it in. And we did 4,000 feet of fabric last Sunday in 2 hours. So the right tools, the right application, the right experience, this is really powerful, powerful land. I'm building a wash station because the problem people have when they grow produce and use it, like Brian, for example, last year took my chilies and processed it in the chilies themselves, getting them ready for the cook in a driveway here or a driveway there or in the yard. And so Jim and I are building a wash station. It will be used by Grow a Row, which provides produce to the elderly here in town. It'll be used by Brian's folks to process the chilies. So when it leaves Mud Island and leaves my farm, it'll go straight to the cook, which is the process of making hot sauce.
Here at Mud Island, putting peppers in transplanting day. So yeah, we've been working with Max Jordan, New Max Farms here. He got a 5-year lease on this place in Sunny Meadow Farms, Community Garden in Chelmsford. And so yeah, we're here a year and like a few days ago. We're planting a little bit later this year. We learned a lot in this past year, but we got 5 new crew members. We had 4 college interns last summer, and we got 5 part-time people. This is their first time doing it, so it's a really fun day to be out doing it. And yeah, it's a beautiful day too. And we got some nice rain yesterday, which was definitely needed. So all around good vibes to start the season. This has been the first year where I've been like able to kind of germinate and be seeing the seedlings grow, and we've actually had access to a greenhouse at Mill City Grows in Lowell, and it's been really cool seeing those just slowly grow and working on our plot and everything. So that plot is going to have a lot of kind of experimental peppers. There's these Puma pimento peppers, which just have this like kind of yellow auburn striped purple color, and they're supposed to be really complex. And we're going to be growing a lot of ahi peppers that are really hot and fruity. So we got some fun stuff growing, but I think our favorite to grow is the golden ghost pepper, which is the kind of the pepper that started in 2014. So we saved our plants from last year and overwinterized, which is the first time I've done something like that. So they're already kind of like 2 feet tall. They're starting to even produce some flowers. So I think that's the favorite one, the golden ghost though. Peppers want a lot of sun and warm soil. Some peppers will take 60 to 70 days to make fruits, while other peppers that are hotter ones like Scotch bonnet and ghost peppers will take over 100 days. So then you're gonna have to kind of start watching out for the frost. We're trying to grow more peppers, and we use 100% Massachusetts grown. We're actually working with another farmer in New Hampshire, so they're just over the border, but we are aiming for about like 8,000 pounds of peppers grown directly from farmers to put into our hot sauce. So we got 4 different kinds, and we're expanding our line. So all of it goes into our sauce with a lot of other produce as well. I think number one, it's the freshness and the quality. And it's just like so extra vibrant with the colors, the flavors. It's night and day. And then also, as importantly, it's just like it's supporting local agriculture and local business, and the peppers don't have to fly across the country, and that money is going directly into the community. So that's really important for us as well.
Shaw Farm is a 115-year-old dairy farm that's in Dracut, Massachusetts. I happen to be the 4th generation owner of it. Sometime around 2007, we thought that we would like to also be in the organic dairy business. So I made it my business to learn everything I could about it, which is significant because we had to change the way we managed our fields, because you can't feed a cow anything that came from a field that has been managed anything but organically. So we changed all our field management into organic, and then we brought in some cows from another farm, because you can't make non-organic cows organic cows. They have to come from an organic mother. So went through all that process, learned that everything you do with a cow has to be done by a different set of rules. So, you know, if a cow gets sick, for instance, antibiotics cannot be used and then continue to use them as, you know, as dairy food. So there's, and that applies to everything that happens with the cow. So like people, cows get individual problems, and the treatment protocols for that are altogether different. So, you know, that's kind of the beginning of it. You know, there's also rules that require you to let them out certain hours of the day, and for a period of time during the summer, they have to go out and get their own food. They can't, these cows have had the food brought to them. You can't do that year-round with organic cows. So 100% of the activities with the cow, different. You have to milk the cows different earlier in this barn, so that you know, the milk that you get from the non-organic cows isn't commingling with it, because it's a distinctly separate product. Same with our processing unit across the street. So the milk that goes over there has to be in a separate tank, and then it has to be processed before the conventional milk is processed. So there isn't anything that's not different, except this. They all act like this. All cows act like this. They're friendly. And she is not organic, by the way. Only a percentage of this herd is organic, and they're down at the other end. They look the same. They lap you with their tongues when you go near them. But it's really not a quality issue with organic. It's really a matter of folks that want organic dairy products, or organic anything, want to support that method of making food. And we respect that, and that's why we adhere by all the rules. But not many people do it. It's very expensive. For instance, making milk requires you to feed grain to the cows. A third of the cost of making milk is the grain. The grain for organic is twice as much money, because that product in itself has to be certified organic. So we have both products here, obviously. And they both come from across the street out of the same bottling plant. The processing really is no different. But the milk that comes from the organic cows, the organic certifiers feel is different. I guarantee you, if I put it in front of you in a glass and, you know, sort of a blind taste test, you will not taste the difference. It's just, it tastes the same, but it's made differently. So it's made from cows that eat grass, not corn, things like that. That machine behind us, so all of the grass we put up, people used to put it up in square bales. Those are big round bales of what's called baleage. It's not dry hay, it's baleage. And so rather than try and lift something around the barn that weighs 1,500 pounds, I bought a machine that unrolls it, similar to unrolling a roll of toilet paper. And that's what he's doing now.
We're planting tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, carrots, celery, greens, what did I miss? Summer squash, and flowers to make everything grow even better. We looked for crops where you could get a lot of volume out of the plant for the space, for the real estate that it takes up. For instance, like if we were to plant broccoli, you only get one broccoli head per plant. So we wouldn't plant that here. Whereas in the same space, we could do a tomato plant that would give you 300 tomatoes, you know, cherry tomatoes. So we're planting borage with our with the cucumbers over there. We're doing calendula in this bed with the cucumbers as well. We've got marigolds with the tomatoes. So yeah, those three go a long way.
We started in response to a community health needs assessment that was conducted by the Greater Lowell Health Alliance back in 2019, where Chelmsford residents identified that their #2 priority health need was increasing access to healthy foods. So we wanted to come up with a way that we could get more healthy foods into the hands of Chelmsford residents. And so we decided to take some empty space here in the back parking lot behind Town Hall and build some raised bed vegetable gardens. So initially that first year, which was 2020, it was kind of just a pilot program, and we only had 6 raised beds, and those were funded primarily by private corporation donations. And then that season went very, very well. Everything that we were pulling out of the 6 raised bed gardens, all of the produce was being distributed through Table of Plenty, which is a community supper here in town. And during the pandemic, they had shifted from a sit-down supper to a grab-and-go meal. So folks who came and drove through the parking lot at the senior center to pick up their meal from Table of Plenty had the opportunity to choose from produce that came from these gardens that were also laid out there. So last year, because the initial year of the program was so successful, I was able to apply for a grant from the Greater Lowell Health Alliance so that we could expand the gardens from the original 6 beds that were down at this end, and we've gone all the way across the median strip here, so now we have a total of 14 beds. So you know, that enabled us to more than double our production of produce that we pulled out last season from the gardens. And then we also combined efforts with a grassroots effort in Chelmsford with the Chelmsford Grow-A-Row program, where backyard gardeners are dedicating portions of their own gardens to grow produce for residents in Chelmsford. So that initiative, combined with this Gardens for Good initiative, enabled us to provide produce last summer for not only the visitors at Table of Plenty on Tuesday evenings, but also we brought produce to Chelmsford Senior Housing on one day a week, and produce went to the food pantry, which is here located behind Town Hall as well. So for this year, we're expanding the efforts of the Chelmsford Grow-A-Row, and so hopefully we will have more growers this season with the Grow-A-Row. There is additional community garden plots at the community gardens that are off of Route 27 in South Chelmsford that are being farmed by volunteers. And then with the expansion of the gardens here at Gardens for Good, all 3 of those will come together to enable us to provide even more produce to residents this year. So we will be looking to provide not only to Table of Plenty and also to the food pantry, but continue to provide for senior housing, and then also subsidized housing through the Chelmsford Housing Authority. So really exciting that we're getting to hit large groups and populations of folks in our community who are experiencing food insecurity. Food pantries are typically, particularly the one here in Chelmsford, they're particularly shelf-stable items. They do have some dairy products, some frozen meats, and occasionally they do get some produce in. They might have like oranges or apples or potatoes, that sort of thing. But you know, they're sort of limited as far as what they get for produce, and by us providing produce to them, we are pulling produce that's you know, maybe was picked the day before or even the day of, and then that's going out to families. So it's super fresh, super healthy. It hasn't lost any nutrients yet. You know, I can't say that we're not certified organic, but we use organic practices here at the Gardens for Good, so we're not applying chemicals and pesticides to the plants. So in general, things are much more healthy and certainly far less expensive than what these same folks would be able to use their SNAP benefits for to get in the grocery store. This is completely free and really available to any resident. We've not had any reason to say no to anybody in the 3 years that we've been providing produce. Initially, it was thought that we would we would make it income eligible, so folks would have to, show some proof of what their income is. But we've been able to supply to everybody who's asked for it, and we haven't had to apply any thresholds or cutoffs to who can access our produce. So my goal really is to be able to provide produce to anyone who says that they need it. And we don't find that anybody takes advantage of that, and really just the opposite. Folks who have more tend to want to donate more to these programs. So feedback really has been tremendous, particularly last year in our senior housing. Seniors just loved to see the produce show up. We had some volunteers who would bring to senior housing, set up in a common area, and it really was like a shopping experience for residents. Nothing was pre-bagged or pre-packaged. All the produce was laid out, and residents just could come down and pick and choose what they wanted and leave with what they wanted. So we plan on doing the same thing this year, both at senior housing and at subsidized housing, so that those folks can have that same experience where they come and they literally shop for what it is that they want and the quantities that they want. The gardens were installed by a small little company called Fresh Start Food Gardens, and they're providing all of our maintenance during the season as well. So they come in and they fertilize periodically. They do some weeding when they're here. They really just take care of the plants, and all our plants come from them as well. And then we utilize a volunteer network for harvesting produce and also for maintaining in between those professional maintenance visits. So our volunteers will come and do weeding. I had a great group of volunteers from the high school last year that came at the end of the season that did a full garden clean out for me. I think there were 7 or 8 students that came, and in a couple of hours they were able to do what would have taken me a full weekend to do on my own. So we've been really, really blessed by volunteers who want to come and dig in the dirt here.
There's a lot of volunteers here, and the volunteers do the weeding and they do the harvesting, and we basically Fresh Start comes in and we look at disease management and we look at insect management, and we do the companion, the crop map, so we know what to plant where. And so the volunteers do a lot of the day-to-day work, but we kind of do like the science stuff behind it, you know what I mean? Plus, when we come in, you kind of get an instant garden.
We're always looking for volunteers, so anyone who would like to help out in any way can contact my office, and I will connect them with my intern who is coordinating the volunteers for this season.